Hi, this is a quick KoboldTouch feature demo walkthrough based on the version from April 2013. Let's have a look. Physics tests, shapes, and as you can see, lots of shapes. The interesting part here is that you can animate any view with physics, not just sprites. You can also have particle effects, labels, even a UI button, and of course physics editor shapes are also supported. And as you can see, the UI button is hopping around. There's also a Coco view controller in KoboldTouch, which means you can position and rotate UI views quite neatly. Joints. There are a couple of joints supported already in version 6.2, and I'll be adding more of those until they are all in. I mean the box 2D joints, and well, quite fun to play around with those. And let me show you some code here. This is the code for the tracking joint, where you can drag the wall around. In box 2D it's called the mouse joint, which isn't quite appropriate for mobile development. But as you can see here, it's all Objective-C code, so I'm continuously evolving the physics engine wrapper to support all of the box 2D features in Objective-C. And next up we have Spine. I integrated the Spine runtime in KoboldTouch, and let's see him jump. Whoop. So Spine is a really cool tool to make skeletal animations, and I think you can create some really cool stuff with it. Next up we have Tilemaps. In this case it's a scrolling tilemap, and not just any scrolling tilemap, it's a parallax scrolling tilemap. And to tap that off, if you can see it, it's actually repeating, and it's repeating endlessly, so you can well, do one of those how are they called, endless running games, you know them. Okay, next, timemaps can also be regular 2D top-down timemaps, of course, and I also enabled the drawing of tiled objects, as they call them. Those are polygons, rectangles, etc., etc. And the yellow lines are the actual objects, and the red lines are for polygons the bounding rectangle, as you can see here. And obviously you can also change tiles. Lots of fun here. Okay, next up we have Autoscaling. That's not too impressive, right? But let's have a look at the Mac version here, which has a different window size. And you can see that all these objects align neatly to the edges, because they are positioned with autoscale, which means their position is dependent on the size of the screen or size of the window, and so you don't have to well, put a lot of work in supporting different screen sizes. Let's close this one. What else do we have? Oh, scroll layer. That's just a node from the Coco Studio iPhone extensions project, which seems to be pretty popular, and that has a special view controller in KoboldTouch. But you can also use any Cocos node class, any CC node class with a view controller. No problem there. And one more thing, pushing scenes, pushing and popping scenes. You know the concept, you push a scene, you push a scene, you push a scene, and the background scenes stay in memory, and then you pop a scene, you return to the previous scene. That's nice. But wait, I pushed a scene, there's a transition, I popped a scene, there's a transition. Well, that's something that Coco Studio can't do. Transitions with popping a pushed scene, basically. Well, popping and transitions, that works. Okay, so let's do pop all. It's also supported in Coco Studio, no problem. But one more thing that always bothered me with pushing scenes: imagine you have a well, you pause the game, user goes into the settings menu, etc. Those are all pushed scenes, and now the user wants to return to the main menu. Now you're stuck because you can only pop scenes in Kogo Studio. You can't pop them all and also replace scenes at the same time, and that's something that Kogo Studio can do. Let's go bum. Okay, well, how can you see this? Let's look at the scene. It's green. Let's push it. Let's push another scene with your controller. Let's pop all. It's still green. It's the same scene. Let's push. Let's push. Let's push. And now let's unmind the stack, which means pop all and replace a new scene. And voila, it's blue. So it's actually a new scene here. Now the less interesting parts, because I'm running this on a simulator, is touch input. Of course, 5 touches, no big deal. Locations, etc. already converted to points, etc. Those convenience stuff. But one thing is worth noting. If you put down 1 finger, then 2 fingers, then 3 fingers, and then you release the first 2 fingers, the touch on finger 3 still has the index number 3, so you can continue to track that specific touch easily without much hassle. That's something that no other engine, as far as I know, has support for. And there's also Acclerometer, of course. Nothing to see here again. You get the raw, the smooth, and the instantaneous values, which means they are low pass and high pass filters running over it, and the whole accelerometer is using core motion instead of the old UI accelerometer interface. And I think that's basically it. And I hope you enjoyed this quick demo, and there will be more demos here in this project, so in a couple of months I'll do another video with more features. See you until then.